Your Name is one of Makoto Shinkai's best works. It talks about a girl named Mitsuha who is born in a small village in the countryside where she is kinda bored and a little frustrated about her tight knit community where traditions and old values were very much cherished. Mitsuha, who didn't appreciate this way of life that much, wishes she could be a handsome boy living in Tokyo in her next life. After performing a certain ceremony where she makes a type of sake called kuchi kamizake or mouth chewed sake, and the very next morning she woke up in a man's body, and she later found out that she was in Tokyo like she wished. Surprised by this, she tries her best to navigate her new life in Tokyo and is surprised by the modernity and fast paced life of her new environment, and tries her best to adapt to the situation. And not so long afterwards, she woke up in her old body again. Clearly confused by this, she checked to see if it was her in her own body, and in fact, it was her own self. Now, and when having breakfast with her family, they talked about how strangely she was acting before, and her friends shared the same idea too. Again, really perplexed by this, she began thinking, am I and another person switching bodies from time to time? And from which they gradually wrote rules for when they switched bodies and souls. They gradually get used to one another's way of life until they wrote their names on each other's bodies, such as hands or faces. And in the epic climax, Mitsuha goes to Tokyo to try to find this boy, a boy named Taki. When Mitsuha goes to board a train in Tokyo, she finds her partner, the person that has been switching bodies with her for a long time. Taki was on that train, and although he is kind of indifferent to her being there and even confused, she hands him a red string of fate. Legend says that people are connected by it no matter the time, place, or circumstances that they are in. In a place and important part in the story, because of its ties to East Asian culture, and especially here in Cambodia where I live, many people tie red strings to their hands in order to have good health and protection, and it is even tied to doors or other pieces of furniture to ensure good luck, or something like that. It plays an important part in the story because it's the literal bond to their each other's existence. They're basically soulmates, and after that meeting, they stop switching bodies for a really long time. Taki, really worried by this, begins to search for Mitsuha, only to find out that she disappeared somewhere in her hometown. A comet known as Tiamat hits her hometown and leaves it to ruin, creating a massive crater in the center of its destruction. Surroundings lie a destroyed village with many of its citizens dying. Saddened by this, Taki visits Mitsuha's hometown of Itomori, where, in place of the crater now transformed into a lake, distraught by the sheer destruction and the abandonment of most of its survivors, he goes on the journey to try to save this town from the comet, a trip some called futile, and in a flashback recalls the sake that he made, that she made, and drinks it, and remembers the memories he had when he was Mitsuha. Uh, Mitsuha goes on to try to save the town by hijacking a broadcasting station warning the citizens of the town that a comet was coming for them. The mayor of this town tried to stop it, but the word has gone out soon. And later, a beautiful comet shower would soar through the night sky, through many different countries and time zones. It's almost beautiful in a way, but again, it is deadly if it hits a large landmass, and it is coming straight for Itamori. In a couple of moments, large sounds and destroyed homes with many large windstorms would take place. The fate of many of the people there were uncertain after the fact. But when Taki and Mitsuha were running up the mountain trying to find each other, they found themselves face to face and they began to scribble each other's names before they disappeared again. After that, he tries to find her again. Uh, a few years went by, and life went on normally for Taki, with many of his friends and himself going on to find jobs. And on his way to an interview, he spots Mitsuha. She was on an opposite train, and while walking up a case of red stairs, they looked back on each other and asked, "Your name is?" Honestly, I think Your Name is one of the best anime movies out there. It's really interesting and I love the plot. Uh, the plot is so beautiful and really wonderfully written. I enjoyed it very much. So much, I even watched it 3 times in fact. The characters are well written, the story and dialogue are well paced, and the animation is so nice. And it tells an interesting story of two people trying to find each other despite their distance from each other and other different circumstances. It's a really dramatic written movie, an amazing story about a boy and a girl who traveled and went through great challenges to help each other and even save each other's lives, and a search to find their respective soulmates. It's a movie that I couldn't recommend enough to others. I don't believe there's a perfect anime movie, but this one comes super close. Like, my top 3 favorite anime movies would probably be Your Name, A Silent Voice, and I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and have a nice day. Goodbye and take care, everyone.